Good morning.
Good morning.
The Bible is a wonderful collection of material that Hebrew, Israelite, and Jewish people have brought together as they experience, express, and live this presence and this power we call God. It contains some rich, empowering material that if we take our minds off theology and see the metaphors and use these metaphors in our own lives, we can awaken to the truth of his message, he, I mean Jesus of Nazareth, when he says, change your mind and experience this wonderful consciousness that is universal, that is made up of peace and joy, health, abundance in all good things. In whatever you desire, you can have. The kingdom of heaven is in the midst of you. And when we learn to cast off the beliefs that others have planted in our minds and come to a new awakening of the wonders of the universe and not limited by archaic opinions and concepts, and come to see yourself as this living spiritual being traveling from nothingness to nothingness and having the ability to experience peace and joy if you could but focus on this one presence and one power. Many times we allow the five senses to direct us by connecting with stimuli from the outside and inviting what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we feel, what we touch, to induce a need to journey outside of us to find satisfaction. The kingdom or the seat of satisfaction is within us. When you allow your minds to awaken to this truth, you stop seeking, asking, and knocking to find things on the outside, but you knock on the innermost part of your being, for that is the seat of the kingdom of heaven. It is not a place to say, lo, here or there. It's not coming. It's already here. It's right within you. When you understand that principle, life changes. And you're no longer searching to hear other people's voices tell you what it is. It becomes what you need it to become. What is your focus? What is your purpose? What is your objective? What are you seeking after? What is your desire? And it becomes that. And whatever else you desire, it becomes what you want it to be. It is not fixed. It's a dynamic movement of ideas that you could connect with and bring into experience, bring into fruition in your own life, world, and affairs. This is the power that we have. If you could learn to keep your attention on your intent and don't journey away from it, success is in the palm of your hands. Keep my word and do not deviate from it. Keep my law and do not deviate from it. Do not worship foreign gods. Worship the idea of that I am presence in you. Focus. Stop living with blurred vision. Learn to focus on a single spot. And let all your energies be directed there, so you can give your full attention to that idea, that seed, that egg that you are supposed to germinate in your mind and then experience it on the outside. That's how simple it is. It is so simple that we miss it because we think that life is supposed to be complicated and full of problems, when life is just the breath that we breathe that moves us from one place to another, and we decide what kind of experiences we'll have in each spot that we come to. The universe is a friendly, supporting system. It is not against you. It is always for you. You are the co-creator with the universe of your experiences of your life. You determine what will be by where you place your focus. What you give your energy to, you create, you build, and you will experience. Is that good? Wow. But you knew that. The disciples were with Jesus for about 3 years, and Jesus is preaching and teaching the same message. And yet still, after his death, they still didn't get it. Sometimes we focus on the teacher and not the message. Sometimes we focus on the person, the personality, and not the substance of the message. Sometimes we are so engaged in relationships that we forget why we are in the relationship. There is no person on earth that is more powerful than that idea that drives you forward. Sometimes we lose perspective and we begin to focus on the material and miss the message. The disciples did that. When Jesus was around, they depended on Jesus to part the waves, to move the mountains, to heal the sick, to raise the dead. When he was gone, they couldn't function because they became too attached to Jesus. And they believed that Jesus was the messenger and Jesus was it. And yet still Jesus told them what? The things that I do, you too can do. Because the power to do is within you. It's not only within me. I am here to teach you to wake up yourself from the sleep that you have placed yourself in. Come forth and begin to live. In John 21, after Jesus had taught them how to fish in the right place to support the needs that they had, they sat down to a big fish fry where they roasted the fish on fire. After completing a task, it's time to rest and enjoy what you have produced. It is nice sometimes when you have had a dream and it has come into fruition to say, thank you, God, and create a Sabbath where you could rest and enjoy. But we still have to practice the principles. Sometimes we think that rest is to throw out everything that we have been doing. Rest means a time to become stronger in what you believe by allowing the Spirit of God to move through you, bringing clarity so you could go forward. So as they sat there, Jesus said to Simon, Simon, do you love me? Do you really love me, Simon? Simon says, yes, I love you. And then Jesus said, feed my sheep. The second time, Jesus said to Simon, Simon, do you love me? Jesus, you're playing games with me. You know that I love you because you know everything. You see, sometimes we think we know because intellectually it has registered. But when time comes to practice, we fail. Has that ever happened to you? Hello now. You went to school, you got educated, and still you have problems with simple things in your life. And you become dependent on other people to fix. Because you what? You believe what in your heart that you can't do it alone. You got to depend on God or somebody else to do it for you. As a spiritual being, you have to come to realize that when you came here, you came with everything required to live a healthy, happy, and prosperous life by yourself and for yourself. We think to love means to get attached to, but love really means to free, so that you could become one with this universal presence wherever you are. Because whatever you bind on earth, you also bind in your head. Whatever you get attached with materially, you get attached here in your mind. That means when you get attached, that means your energy goes there to keep it here. Hello now. Whatever you focus on, your energy is directed there. Whether you love it or hate it, whatever you give power to will drain you. And then you cannot do the things for yourself that you can do naturally for yourself by yourself. This lesson that Jesus is teaching is a fantastic lesson for all of us. We all say, well, I know. And then we go out and make mistakes. And every opportunity given to us, we say, I know. We do it in relationships, we do it at work, we do it wherever we are. And the first thing we start to do is to blame. You ever notice that about yourself? When you mess up, you look for something outside of you to blame. So Jesus said to Simon, the third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him a third time. And he said, Lord, you know all things. You know I love you. Hello now. This is you, eh? This is not Peter or Simon. This is you. Don't you get mad when the same thing happens over and over and you get frustrated? Hello? It is so simple, but I know this. How come? Because you don't practice it. You just have knowledge of it. Wisdom, or the power to use, comes from practice. The more you use is the more you become proficient at using. And then Peter, turning to the side, saw that the disciple who Jesus loved, John, and says, how come you're not picking on John and you're only picking on me? We look around us and we see people who we judge to be less than us having a good time in life. And we say, well, what about me? I am practicing and I'm doing all kind of stuff. What about me? You deserve the experience that you have because that's the nature of consciousness. Stop looking outside for examples. Stop questioning why things are happening to you. The only reason why things are happening to you is the laws that you have set in motion in your life. Every fruit brings forth, every tree brings forth fruit after its own kind. Your experiences are equal to your mental state. You cannot see it or experience it unless it is a part of your mental state. Individual consciousness is like a pasture, a field. We all own our own pasture. Everything we have in the pasture is ours. All the animals in the pasture belong to us. Sheep, wild animals, creepy things, birds, fish, everything in our pasture we have created and we have named. We have described. And then we experience the description of what we have described. So Jesus is telling Peter, Peter, take care of your thoughts your feelings. Take care of what's in your consciousness, what is in your garden. Your role in life is to be a farmer that knows everything about your garden, what is in there, and not look at your neighbor's garden. Because you reap whatever is in your garden. The sheep in your garden are either controllable or wild and woolly. Hello now. The wild animals in your garden are the thoughts in your garden that are based on negativity. How many negative animals do you have? Do you see wild boars? Do you see lions? Do you have hyenas in your garden? When you look out, do you judge people to be bad, good, or indifferent? What is your judgment? That the garden. What is your judgment of the garden and the things in the garden? Are you happy with your garden the way it is with all the negative stuff? Or do you see your role as to walk through your garden and pluck out the weeds, get rid and cage the wild animals, and then focus on the sheep? Hello now. That's the beautiful thing about a shepherd. There's a relationship between the shepherd and the sheep. The shepherd is focused on the welfare of the sheep, and the sheep knows its role is to give milk, to give fleece, and to give meat when the time comes. Wow. So if you take care of your sheep will take care of you. Stop looking at other people's goats. Focus now is to keep your mind stayed and do not deviate. Which for most people is difficult. Because we are always shifty-eyed, looking for something we did not put there. Jesus is saying, feed my sheep, encourage my sheep to grow and produce goodness. Focus on my lambs, the young thoughts that have just come into mind. Build them up. Don't think about the wolves and the hyenas think about the sheep. Focus your mind. Hello now. Focus. Learn to focus. Learn to keep your mind in one direction and do not deviate. It is said that when God called Joshua, he told Joshua to follow the laws and do not deviate from what Moses has told you. If you want to create something after a perfect pattern, you can't add this and take away that. You have to keep your eyes focused on the image, that which has been cast in your mind, to produce the exact likeness on the outside, called your experiences. Stop looking at your neighbor, man. Your neighbor has a bigger pool than you. When we start looking outside, we get jealous. Haven't you ever looked at somebody who you believe you are a better Christian than and see them multiplying in all good stuff? They have goats, they have sheep, they have giraffe, they have armadillos. And you feel you are better than them and you want all of that too? You've taken your mind off. You're sitting down home, good. Reading a good book, Shadows in the Dance by Evan Reed. The phone rings. Yorkdale has sale. You don't want anything to buy. But you jump up to go and help somebody fulfill what they are focused on. Hello? Keep your mind stayed, focused. Love means to become one with. The only reason why we don't become one with God is because we are not focused on the goodness that's everywhere. Our first commitment is to our sheep. As a shepherd, you live for your sheep. You breed for your sheep. You have to watch out for your sheep. Because sometimes you will pass through parts of your pasture that appear to be the shadow of death as the wild animals start to get in. And you have to not focus on the wild animals. You have to focus on your sheep. That's why you have a rod and a staff. Hello now. You come prepared to protect your sheep. You have to protect these thoughts so that they can produce abundantly after their kind. Hello now. Sometimes we think it's just okay to get a sheepdog and let the sheepdog do all the work. You got to direct the sheepdog to which pen you want to put the sheep in. You can't let other people direct your thoughts. Sheepdog is other people's that you allow to come into your mind and cause you to go far away from the dream that you have. You ever experienced that? Do you go back in your life sometimes as a teenager what you wanted to be? And realize now that you're not close, you've gone so far that the happiness that you thought you might have had, you don't. If you start again to be a good shepherd, my sheep hear my voice and they know me and I know them. My only concern in life is to fulfill my dream. I don't care about your dreams. I care about my dream. Because until I experience the fulfillment of my dream, I cannot be happy. I can't spend time with you. I got to spend time and keep examining the thoughts that I am thinking. To think is to create in mind surrounding an idea. What are the kind of thoughts I am producing? Are they based on fear? Are they based on faith? The ability to look into my mind and see a preferred future without any destruction or distortion, to create a preferred future and know that this future that I'm creating is mine and I'm traveling towards it and nothing will shut me down. Can you do that? Every person who was called in the Bible was called to go to a place that they couldn't see, to have an experience that they had never experienced. But in traveling the path towards it and always keeping in mind that idea that was driving them forward, prosperity, deliverance, freedom, they found it. You cannot find what you are looking for until you keep your mind stayed on me. Seeing with the single eye means to focus on one thing Narrow is the path that leads to success. Broad is the path that leads to destruction. Keep your path narrow, not broad. Some of us want to be an expert in everything. No. And we're not happy because we are waiting for somebody else to come and stimulate us to do. No. Moses admitted, I don't know how to speak. God says, I will give you somebody to speak for you. When you take this narrow path, whatever you need on the path, through the power of love will come. Because love is that power that attracts and draws to you whatever you have need of. Don't try to second guess and ask yourself, well, God has called me to do this, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know where I'm going. Just go. Get up and go. You're lazy. Get up and go. Stop sitting down on the chair and hoping that it will come to you. It's not going to come to you. You have to do a mental as well as a physical journey to get what you want. You've got to keep your mind stayed on the idea. In the beginning was the idea, and the idea was with God, and the idea was God. The idea is the motivating, creating force in you that you live for every moment of the day. What are you living for? If you have nothing to live for, well, life is over. Get off the planet and let somebody else take the energy. What are you living for? What is motivating you to go forth in life? Ask yourself this. Am I waiting for somebody to come to light my torch? Am I waiting when I'm getting a little older and mature? Am I waiting for enough money to do what get up? And you'll find as you start traveling towards your dream, the money will come. Verity began with 1,000 US and $300 Canadian when I took over. And look at us. If you keep your mind stayed on what you want out of life, life will give you that. And when you stop looking at the other churches and how many people they have, you will get what you deserve. And you'll be happy with it. Some people ask me, Evan, how come, other churches have millions of people and we don't have a lot? Hello. But we have quality. That's you. Isn't it nice to have one thing that you could appreciate instead of having a million things that cause you trouble every day? Isn't life about peace and joy and happiness to wake up without complexities and studying what the next trouble will be? Hello now. Isn't it nice to know that we could come here and celebrate life? And all the fighting has ceased. And all the miserable people have gone. Isn't it nice that you could come here and say good morning and have a smiling face instead of having one that is crossed up? We have worked hard to get to this place where people could come and just sit down and not having to be adjusting to the whims and fancies of others. Isn't that nice? Yes. If you focus, my place shall be called a place of love, of oneness, of respect, of acceptance, of appreciation of who we are. not judging people based on their narrow-mindedness, but because we are broad-minded, seeing God wherever we are, we can appreciate all of us. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? Yes. There was a time when you didn't want to come. No, you come. Keep coming. Keep your mind stayed on this message of liberation. This message is a message of liberation. If I be lifted up, then other people will see me lifted up and want to be like me. But my role is not to lift up anybody. It's to lift up myself. What is your focus? What is your focus? Your first commitment is on your focus. What do you want to achieve in life? When St. Peter calls, you could say, I ran a good race and I won. Because I kept my mind on the prize. And I have gotten it. Because the race that I ran was my own race. There was nobody else in it. So I came first. Hello now? No competition. Because I don't know anybody else that is running my race. I don't want to break any record. I just want to run my race. Hello now. If it takes me 80 years to get to the end, when I get there, I'll be happy. Because some people get there at 40. Live the life pondering after. Like Alexander the Great. He died by the age of 30 or so, wondering what else to do. The road may seem long. It may come with obstacles. But through faith, if your focus is on achieving, no matter how it is achieved, then you could say to yourself, well done, I have arrived, and you could rest. May God bless you.
Think of your fellow man, give him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. If you see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know, please don't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Wait and see. Take a good look around. Just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. 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 Pick it up now. Put a little love, put a little love, put a little love in your heart. Put a little love, put a little love, put a little love in your heart. Put a little love, put a little love, put a little love in your heart.